letting the breath settle into the abdomen, letting the arms dangle. Feel the sensation of gravity on the bottoms of the feet. Pointing the tailbone to the ground will lengthen and straighten the lower back somewhat. Pointing the back crown of the head towards the sky will straighten the neck a little bit. Just let the weight of the arms pull the shoulders right down. So a long and open spine, sitting shoulders, released abdomen, hanging hips, settled feet. And we'll just centralize our attention, focusing our mind and our breath just below the navel. Each out breath is a releasing breath. Releasing more tensions with each exhale. And bending the knees a little bit more to set up for hip circles, starting slow and small circles. As it feels okay, we can let those circles expand a little bit. We're still actually hanging from the string. That keeps the lower back unkinked, unflexed. So we're not going to strain anything in the hips or lower back. The shoulders are still settling down, so we're not holding ourselves up. So it's like a pendulum, actually. If you imagine a weight at the end of a string, and we're just swinging that weight. This is the weight here. So the spine is the string, and the hip girdle is that weighted bolt, or that gem or stone at the bottom of that string, and we just swing that weight. And we can let that swing get bigger. And then that will allow you to also feel what it's doing for the ball joints of the hips. And slowly coming back to hanging stillness. Then send the mind the other way and let that take the hips the other direction. The knees are nicely bent. Go bigger and bigger. And letting gravity take us back naturally, slowly to vertical stillness. And rolling the shoulders to activate the higher spine, including the neck. And other way, again, the mind is leading that action. The intention leads the way. One of the most fundamental inner principles of Tai Chi is the mind leads the body. So our intention is leading the way. And again, if we emphasize that we're dangling from the string, that'll pull the spine long and vertical back to stillness. And letting the arms drop with gravity, swing ever so slightly. Hanging out, releasing the abdomen. The weight falling through the hips, legs, and feet. And knees have a nice bend to them. And we just turn the hips and we do some lateral arm swings. And those arms are just passive ropes, just hanging. And we're just turning the hips, just turning around the central axis. Release the abdomen, release the shoulders. And gradually winding down. Go a little bit wider. And then toes out and knees out. It's called a horse stance. It's like you're riding a horse. And we'll do the same lateral arm swing, but we're going to add the weight shift and the hip turn, just like we do for serving tea. Shift the weight and turn the hips. And so we just have a bit more movement for that arm swing, still dangling vertically. So all the work is in the legs and hips. And then if we really release those shoulder joints, the swing of those arms, so we open those joints, allow them to open and rejuvenate. Hanging from the string so the belly is released. And gradually wind down. Hanging vertically, right to center. And we'll go softly into serving tea. Hanging out. Weight in the feet. Arms aren't really moving. We're just shifting the weight and turning the hips. You can imagine you're doing this in a pool of water. It's very, very helpful imagery and feeling. One thing worth noting is we have to consciously include that arm that goes down and back. It's a normal tendency to think of just one thing at a time and what's in front, what's frontal. So this hand in front tends to capture our attention. And we kind of forget about the back arm and back hand. And that also means that that back shoulder and back gets tight. Shoulder blade gets tight. We're not thinking about it. So we want equal awareness in both arms, both hands. We want that arm going back to be relaxed and released as well, that shoulder as well. Completely equal in awareness and in feeling. Okay, and coming back to center. Walking the feet in. Hang out, and just a few commencement moves to help and train the mind and body to come together and calming the mind and the body. Again, the arms flow away, fronts of the wrists lead the way, elbows lead on the way down. The shoulders stay sitting the entire time. The shoulder joints gently coaxed open as the arms float away in front of you, just as if you were in a nice pool of water. Just your intention and your breath in, expanding the ribs and bellies enough to send the arms adrift forward and away from you. And just the exhale, the contracting, retracing of the ribs and abdomen are enough to pull the arms back down through the water. And drifting down, letting the hands fold over the Dantian, just below the navel, using the weight of the hands as a reminder, as a mental anchor. Keep the breath and the attention resting in the core. Gently rocking out. Okay, let's take it from commencement right to second cross hands. So just take a moment to checklist the posture, including the feet, breath, tip of the tongue touching the roof of the mouth, eyes softly gazing towards the horizon. Sending the mind forward is enough to set the arms in motion. And here we are in commencement. Left grasp bird's tail. Grasp bird's tail. Single whip. Raise hands and step up. Turn, hold the ball for stork spreads wings. Brush knee, ready position. Step for the brush knee. Half step up, play the fiddle. Brush knee, ready position. And brush knees. Half step up, play the fiddle. Brush knee, ready position. Brush knee. Shifting back, turning left foot to the corner. Hold the bouquet. The chop with fist. Step, parry, and punch. Withdraw and push. First cross hands. Knees go straight forward, straight over the feet. Shifting to the right leg to turn on the left heel, shifting back to the left leg to step into the back corner for carry tiger to mountain. Single whip, all the way to the left leg, all the way back to the right leg. On the left heel, turning to the back corner, stepping into the other corner, correcting the left foot, into the right leg, touching down left heel for fist under elbow, heel to the ball of the foot to set up for repulse monkeys. Full step back, slanting spine. Half step up, or raise hands, step up. Turn, hold the ball. Full step. Stork spreads wings. brush knee ready position. For brush knee. Half step up or needle at C bottom. All the weight staying in the back leg. Full step. Left hand low, right hand high. Hand through back. 100% weight shift. 100% weight shift. Correcting the back foot. Coming back to hold the bouquet. Or chop with fist. Step parrying punch. Rock back as the right hand slowly opens. Standing into the left leg, hold the ball for grass bird's tail sequence. Single wet. Wave hands as clouds. Make sure the right knee is bent as you shift the weight to it. Knees are bent right over the feet. Shoulders are resting down. Breath in the belly. Eyes are panning across the horizon. Single whip. High paddle horse. Make sure the right knee is bent as you turn to the back corner, arms open. Step in the corner, correct on the right heel. Separation of right foot. Toes down. Stepping to the right corner, correcting on the left heel. Separation of left foot. Half step back for turn and kick. 100% weight shift. 100% weight shift. Heel off the left foot. Kick with the left heel to the side wall. Dropping the left heel, turns the right hand palm up, setting up for brush knees. Low punch. Bend through back. 100% weight shift. 100% weight shift back. Big step over. Coming forward, correcting on the left heel. Coming back, hold the bouquet. Step, parry and punch. Right foot kick, rock back as the right hand opens slowly. Left foot to the corner, shifting to stand at the left leg. Heel kick to the side wall. Step with the right heel into that corner, back corner, holding the bouquet. Full step to the back wall with the left heel. Hit tiger at left. The shoulders stay down as we rotate and turn hands palm upward. 100% weight shift to the right. Turning on the left heel, 100% weight shift to the left. touch down for balance to correct on the left heel, to the front corner, step with the right foot straight to the front wall, or hit tiger at right. Shifting back as the hands open and inscribe a circle down. Wrist cross slow. Bringing the knee up, hands up. Kick with the heel. Dropping the heel. Draws the arms down. Crossing low again. Shifting forward. The arms inscribe an arc coming up. Striking ears with fists. Shifting all the weight into the right leg. Hands open and slide down. Crossing low, left wrist underneath right. Lifting the knee. Heel kick to that front corner. Keeping the weight in the right leg to lightly drop the left heel down. Keeping the weight in the right leg so you can turn on the left heel to the right front corner. Shifting to the right, touching down on the right heel, half a step. Turning to the next corner, the back corner. As the left wrist slowly comes inside the right. Half step on the left heel. So left foot turns to the next back corner, shifting the weight to the left leg. Peeling off right foot. Heel kick to the sidewall. Drop that right heel, the diagonal to come in front of the left foot, half a step. Hold the bouquet. Right foot to the corner for chop with fist. All the weight into the right leg. Step, parry, and punch. Draw and push. Second cross hands. And we'll carry on from here. So shifting the weight to the right to turn on the left heel, shifting back to the left to step with the right heel to that back corner. As we enter into carry tiger to mountain, of course, correcting on that left heel. Now we go into single whip, regular single whip. We shift the weight all the way to the left leg 100% to turn on the right heel to get the right toes to that front corner. Shift the weight back to the right leg as the hot hand slide down. Touch down the ball, left foot, arms swoop out to the right, just like regular single whip. Straight step on the left heel to the front wall, shifting forward to complete single whip. Now we'll just drop the arms and we'll do the footwork entering into the next move. So the weight is into the left leg, front leg. We shift the weight back to turn on the left heel to get the left foot to that front corner. 45 to that front corner. And shift the weight into the left leg. And we step with the right heel. Now we're stepping towards, we're going to be moving towards the sidewall. Now this is where we come into a little bit of different footwork. I step with the right heel and I have the foot not 45 degrees to that back corner, because that would mean we have 90 degrees between our feet, because my left foot is to the front corner. And if my right foot is to the other corner, I've got that 90 degrees. So this is a little bit different. It's half of 45 degrees, 22.5 degrees from straight to the sidewall. So in Partition of Wild Horses Mane, which is what we're just starting now, the step is not 45 degrees off of the front, but 22.5 degrees off the front. And the next foot's going to be 22 degrees off the front. So together that makes 45 degrees. So let's just kind of just pause from there. So when I'm stepping towards you in Parting Horses Mane, now the good thing is that the arm work with Parting Horses Mane is nothing new. It's the same as serving tee or slanting flying. So the arm motion, nothing new. We're going to hold the ball step and do basically slanting flying, or you can think of it as serving T, or as we do here, coming back after repulse monkeys, we hold the ball, come here for slanting flying. Exactly the same arm motion as that. We hold the ball, serving T, hold the ball, serving T. The footwork, we know how to step. The only thing is the angles will seem to be a little bit different. We still want 45 degrees between our feet, but rather than one foot pointing to a wall, if we have the front foot pointing to a wall, any wall, back wall, side wall, any wall, let's say I'm pointing my front foot to the side wall. Well, then I know that my back foot has to be to the corner, get 45 degrees. All that makes this a little bit tricky is that our front foot isn't pointing to a wall, it's pointing a little bit towards the corner. So we don't have the same reference of front foot is straight to a wall, back foot then is 45 degrees, which is to a corner. So what it means is this foot here is 22.5 degrees, not 45. So here, of course, my foot is straight. Here is 45 to the corner. Now that would be fine, 45 to the corner would be fine if I was stepping with the other foot straight to the wall. But we're not pointing straight to the wall. It's just off. So that's 22.5 degrees, some in between the straight and the corner. And so when I step with the other foot, that needs to be 22.5. Because if that foot is straight forward, what does that mean? It means I have 22.5 degrees between my feet. That's a little too small. If I step to the corner like usual, that means I've got 45 degrees here, but another 22.5 here. So that's more than what we want. It's more than 45. So what it means is I'm stepping 22.5 degrees from center line with each step. And so I'm 22.5 off of there, I'm 22.5 off there, I've got my 45 degrees. Now, maybe I'll just show one last thing to kind of have that make sense that this is just a regular 45 degrees. If I turn my whole body, I'm going to pivot my entire body, keep everything the same, but pivot so that my front leg is pointing to a wall, the back wall. I'm just going to pivot myself. I'm going to keep my feet the way they are and pivot as one unit. So now my front foot's pointing to a wall, and I turned everything without changing anything. I've got my 45 degrees. Now I've got that back foot, you can see it's to the corner. So all I'm doing is, I don't have a foot pointing directly to the wall, but I still want my 45 degrees between them. So that means I step half of 45 degrees from that front line instead of a full 45 degrees. So we need to practice that a little bit. So let's say if we can do it facing each other. So let's start with this side. If you want to be like facing me like a mirror. So let's have this foot, this forward foot, first of all, pointing straight to the wall or straight to the camera. Just to start off, well, that's straight, and that's kind of like a normal step. Often we're pointing to the wall with the front foot. Could be the side wall, front wall, back wall, but the front foot is typically pointing to a wall, and the back foot is pointing to a corner to make the 45 degrees. So let's start off that way. The front foot is pointing straight or straight to the camera, to the wall. But that's not the direction we're facing exactly for these steps. So that front foot, make it about 22.5 degrees, so half of 45. If you want to go to a full 45 degrees first and then come back to half of that, just to kind of give you a sense. Now we're going to shift the weight into that front leg and step with the next foot, heel first, of course, And we want that to be in that same small angle off of that front center line. Not quite 45 degrees. And we step again, heel first, of course. 22.5 degrees, or half of that 45 degrees to the corner. So it seems like a very small angle off of that line going straight forward, but it's actually the same 45 degrees between the feet. Do you have a sense of that?
I do.
Okay, now, one other detail we need to mention. We still need to be wary of instepping. We don't want to instep. So I'll illustrate that. All that really means is, as usual, we want to step forward and over, I'm going to exaggerate a bit, forward and over a bit so that I'm not instepping. That's exaggerating. It just has to be a little bit. But if I just step where I want to step, chances are I'll be instepped. I don't have enough width or lateral space between my feet. It needs to be over a bit, just like every other step. So let's see if I can just illustrate that. So I got 22.5 degrees here. And I'll endeavor to step a good step for the next foot, 22.5. So that's pretty good. But you probably can't see from out there, but I'm definitely instepped. See that? The line from the inside of my front foot is definitely going right into my back foot. I'm instepped. So as is usual, I need to have it over a bit. Now I'm totally okay. You see that? I'm totally okay there. But if I made a narrow step, the angle's correct, half of 45 to the corner, but I'm too narrow with my stepping, so I'm in step. I need to step out as usual and over as usual. So I step, not much, just a little bit. So you step, turn that front foot just 22.5, not 45, and probably a little bit over a bit more than what you might tend to do it, because most people will tend to instep. So try a few steps where if you have a good sense of that's just going to be 22.5 degrees from that center line. If you have a good sense of that, step a couple times and then check for instepping. If I draw an imaginary line from the instep of my front foot straight back, does it bang into the back foot? If so, I need to move that front foot slightly over so that line from that instep goes back underneath me freely without hitting my back heel or my back foot. So that hasn't changed. The idea of not instepping is the same. The 45 degrees is the same. It's just a little bit different of an orientation because one foot isn't pointing to a wall and the back foot is to the corner. We just turned it a little bit. So we're walking towards a wall and each foot is off a little bit. Rather than one foot to one wall, back foot to the corner. So that's how we step when we're doing Harding Horse's Main, or you can think of it as that 22.5 degree step while you do serving tea. Now, just before we go into doing that sequence and move into it from that single whip, let me explain one other little detail. Is one little correction. As you know, we always need to correct on the back heel to get our 45 degrees, right? So if we haven't turned around enough, for example, if I haven't come around enough, I have to then do an extra turn on that heel to get my 45 degrees. Well, that actually happens on a very, very small level at first going into Harding Horse's Main. Let me illustrate that. So from that single whip, so I just finished Carry Tiger to Mountain and I'm doing single whip and I'm pointing, facing the front wall, left foot to the front wall. So I'm going to shift the weight back to the right leg to turn my left foot to the corner 45 degrees. So technically the first step is 45 degrees to the corner, like a regular angle. So I've shifted the weight back to turn on the left heel to get that front foot angled to the front corner. I shift the weight back to the left leg, hold the ball as usual. Now, this is the first step into parting horse's mane. So when I step with my right heel, it's not going to be pointing straight to the sidewall. I angle it 45 degrees, or 22.5 degrees, half of the 45. And ideally, I've corrected for instepping. I moved over a little bit, so I'm not instepped. As I shift the weight into that front leg, that front foot, which is 22.5, off from that wall, but where did I leave my back foot, my left foot? What angle was that?
45.
It was 45. So I don't have 22 and 22, I've got 22 and 45. So I've got to correct that back foot. Got to turn on the left heel just a tiny bit, because all I have to go is from 45 to 22.5. So it's like, half correction. So I just have to turn on the left heel to turn those left toes just a little bit to get the back foot 22.5. Then from there on, it's just 22.5, 22.5, 22.5. So I step, heel down, hopefully not instep, so heel over, 22.5 from that straight line in front of me. Step into the next foot. I step forward and over a bit to avoid instepping, and just 22.5 from that sidewall. Okay, so let's put the arms into that. So from single whip, here we are. Shifting back to the right leg so we can turn on the left heel, and we turn the left heel 45 degrees to that front corner. We shift the weight to the left leg to stand into it, and the right hand opens and goes low to hold the ball. Step with the right heel over a bit to avoid instepping, just a little bit over, and the right toes are not to the sidewall and not quite to the back corner. It's right in the between that, 22.5. And as we shift the weight into that right leg, we're serving T. So it's right hand palm up. Forearm is a slight angle up. Left hand is palm down in front of the left hip. Just like slanting flying or serving T. Now we're going to stand all the way into the right leg and hold the ball. So as always, that just simply means the bottom hand turns palm up. So I stand, hold the ball as I step with the left heel over a tiny bit to avoid instepping, and plant that left foot, the left toes, just 22.5 off that center line. And left hand now serves T. Left hand's palm up, right hand's palm down. I stand into the left leg and slowly rotate my hand so I'm holding the ball. So right hand turns palm up, left hand turns palm down. Holding the ball, stepping with the right heel over a tiny bit to avoid instepping, and the right toe is pointing just off from the wall, just 22.5. Stand into the right leg, hold the ball, so that's left hand low. Step with the left heel, 22.5 degrees. So there's 45 degrees in total between my feet. Hold the ball, step with the right heel, and 22.5. Now we've done 5 parting horse's mane. There's 5 of them. Next section, we know we're going to stand into the right leg and hold the ball. Step with the left heel towards the front corner. This is now 45 degrees again. Left toes, 45 degrees to the actual corner, the front corner. This is grass bird's tail, so this palm is facing towards us. So this is left grass bird's tail. So it's not serving T anymore. That's why we're not stepping to 22.5. We're stepping a regular 45 degrees to that corner. It's not serving T, it's not parting horse's mane. It's now left grass bird's tail. So the foot is 45 to the corner, and the left hand is not palm up, but palm facing us. And as you might have guessed, You've got to correct that back foot just a tiny bit, because that back foot, the right foot, was 22.5 from the wall. So we need to turn on the right heel a little bit. So the right foot is pointing towards the sidewall because the left foot is pointing towards the corner. So we need to get that 45 degrees back. So we turn on the right heel just a bit. 22.5 degrees, we turn it to get it straight to the sidewall. Here we are at left grasper's tail. Now let's just continue a little bit because we know this. So we're going to stand into the left leg. So we're going from left grasper's tail into grasper's tail sequence. So we stand into the left leg, right hand turns palm up, or stand and hold the ball, step with the right heel, straight to the sidewall, grasper's tail sequence. And then, as always, single whip. Single whip. And then coming after this is something new. So that's definitely warrants a whole class for the next move, a sequence of moves. But that chunk there is really familiar. So let's do that one more time from the single whip. So of course, forward on the left leg, shifting back, turning the left heel 45 degrees to that front corner. And then we shift the weight to stand into the left leg. Right hand goes low, palm up for hold the ball. Now we're stepping into parting horse's mane. So we step with the right heel, just 22.5 degrees off from that sidewall, off from being straight to the sidewall. We shift the weight, serve tee, and we turn on the left heel just a tiny bit to get it 22.5 degrees off of being straight to that sidewall. Stand into the right leg, hold the ball. So left hand, bottom hand turns palm up, top hand turns palm down, holding the ball. Step with the left heel, and the left toes are just off from facing the sidewall, 22.5 degrees. And as usual, the basic coding applies. Forward leg is the top arm, but it's palm up for serving tee or parting horse's mane. Stand into the left leg, hold the ball. So right hand turns palm up, left hand palm down. Step with the right heel just off from center line, 22.5 degrees. Serving tee. That's 3 steps. Stand, hold the ball, step with the left heel, just off center line. That's 4. And when we come on the right leg again, that's 5, stepping with the right heel. That's 5, parting horse's mane. So we do 5, and then we go into left grasper's tail. So we stand and hold the ball, step with the left heel, 45 degrees to that corner for a regular, normal left grasper's tail. So now the left hand's palm facing you. You have to turn a little bit, just a bit, on that right heel to get the right foot to the sidewall for a 45 degrees. Stand and hold the ball as we step towards the wall for a regular grasper's tail. As we hang out from the string and breathe into the belly. And single whip. Regular single whip here. Shoulders resting, belly release. Okay. Good. So start to see the patterns repeat themselves, and bigger patterns repeat themselves, including this new move, so-called new move. The arms, we're familiar with the arms, some, especially the holding the ball. We know serving tee or slanting flying. We know 45 degrees. We know we don't want to be in step. It's just a slight new orientation towards that sidewall. So hanging out, knees soft and relaxed. Shoulders are pulled straight down by the weight of the arms and hands. Tailbone pointing straight towards the floor to open and lengthen the lower back. Chin is dropped ever so slightly to elongate the line of the neck. In other words, you point the back crown of the head towards the sky. And flowing forward, and sinking down. And if you want to time that with the breath, so breathing in, the ribs, the belly expand, buoying the arms forward, flowing the arms away from you, breathing out, retracing of the ribs and abdomen, draws the elbows back down. Nothing in the shoulders. Nothing is needed in the shoulders. And letting the hands drift down over the dantian, the center point just below the navel. Letting the weight of the hands be an anchor for the attention to help rest the mind and breath together deep in the core. The belly is released and free to move with the breath. Deep breath in through the nose, long breath out through the mouth, releasing the arms, letting them swing a little bit naturally as you breathe normally in the belly, and enjoying the process of gravity, gently and gradually pulling the arms to vertical stillness. Weight through the feet, breath resting in the belly. Each out breath is a releasing breath. Gently shift the weight side to side with the knees unlocked. And once your weight is on one leg, release the empty foot by turning on the heel a little bit. Shift the other way, release on the heel, gently rock out. Good.
Thank you.
Covered some good ground there. See you next time.